Werewolf by Night was the first TV special released by Marvel, and fans had no idea what to expect, but that didn't stop them from theorizing about which of their favorite superheroes could appear in it. Many even assumed Moon Knight would show up, all pale, gray, and masked just because he fit the special's aesthetic. In this video, we're gonna find out if Marvel has any plans to make this crossover happen. First up, the crossover seems unlikely. When fans first saw the preview for Werewolf by Night at D23, they were surprised to say the least. They learned that Marvel was no longer holding back, and really taking a darker route with the special. The standard MCU movie is lighthearted, brightly lit, and seems to be made particularly for younger audiences. Now, it turns out they're focusing on older audiences. The much more serious Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame are two very good examples. Moon Knight fell in the same boat. The show delved into how abuse at home could drastically affect the mental health of an individual, and they showed a lot more blood than we'd expect, but everything we saw only made us love the show more. Keeping that aside, the darker aesthetic of the show and the special made everyone believe they could team up. Turns out all that theorizing was for nothing. According to the director, Michael Giacchino, they have no plans for Moon Knight to appear in Werewolf by Night. Coming up, why were people so sure of the crossover? Firstly, this is Marvel. When are fans not theorizing about something or the other? So this should have been expected. But another reason for these assumptions was because Moon Knight had first appeared in the Werewolf by Night many years ago. Giacchino also understood just why everyone thought he would appear, but assured that the show would not be featuring other heroes and only focus on the characters being introduced in the special. Fans shouldn't have to worry though. Marvel hasn't shied away from crossovers in the past, and we doubt they're gonna stop now. But we do support Giacchino's vision and believe that we should learn more about Jack Russell before adding cameos alongside him. Once he's established though, we can't wait to see who Russell runs into. Moving on, Man-Thing may have been a better choice. Yes, fans want to see Moon Knight, but we think it was better he was left out. Those who've seen Werewolf by Night will have realized that Man-Thing and Jack's friendship is the beating heart of the special. The special leads you to believe that Jack has joined other monster hunters to hunt Man-Thing. On the contrary, he's actually there to save his friend from the rest of them. As time passes, we learn how they've supported one another and genuinely care for the other's well-being. In a short amount of time, Giacchino fixated on the characters and still gave us a good idea of how things were. And the final shot, notably the only one, ends the feature on an encouraging note. Including Moon Knight would eat up that time that was dedicated to these characters, and it would have distracted the viewers from the important relationship being built up in the story. So while we did want to see Moon Knight again, we think it's better to wait for the right time. Next up, never say never. Marvel Studios wasn't considered one of the most impressive franchises for no reason. Not only did they have several superhero movies being released every year, but they constantly let the superheroes show up in each other's movies. Black Widow appeared in Iron Man 2, and then in Captain America Civil War. Not to mention, most of the Avengers showed up in Captain America Civil War. And boy, were these movies amazing. You can forget Doctor Strange showing up alongside Peter Parker in Spider-Man No Way Home. While the crossovers have worked for Black Widow, who we gradually got to know better with every small appearance, the strategy won't work for everyone. If Giacchino believes that he needs to establish the character before including other already well-established heroes in the mix, we stand by him. Moving on, Moon Knight in the comics. Most of the fan theories stem from the Marvel Comics. You won't believe us, but Marvel Comics began publishing its works in 1939. That's almost 83 years ago. So most of the fan theories stem directly from the pages of these very comic books. The same goes for Moon Knight. The studio's most recent venture will finally allow audiences to be introduced to more supernatural elements in the MCU. They're slowly bringing these underworld characters to light, who ardent fans already know are known as the Midnight Suns. Members of the Midnight Suns have changed frequently, but in most cases, the group usually consists of Blade, Doctor Strange, and Moon Knight, along with some others. This group has had multiple run-ins with Werewolf, who's the star of the newest horror special. So if the two have met in comics, why shouldn't they meet in the show as well? Well, now that Werewolf by Night is out, we know for a fact that Moon Knight didn't make an appearance. However, that doesn't mean the two will never meet. If Marvel continues to use the comics for inspiration, like they're doing for Armor Wars, we should be seeing them meet up soon enough. Plus, fingers crossed that Marvel doesn't completely sideline one of our favorite additions to the MCU, and we meet Moon Knight soon. If we can see him interact with Spider-Man as he did in the comics, all our prayers will have been answered. Next up, Oscar Isaac offers fans new hope. Talking about Moon Knight has got us all worked up about when we'll see him next. The series did a wonderful job of introducing the new superhero to the franchise. Not only did the show take its time to introduce Stephen Grant and Mark Spector, but it also did an amazing job of depicting a man with a dissociative identity disorder. Not to say, Oscar Isaac really outdid himself, acting out the different personalities. So can you blame us if we want more? A viral TikTok video that included both the actor and the director, Mohamed Diab, got us wondering if they had begun working on the sequel to the show, but we heard nothing for a while. At the time, Isaac was questioned as well. Thankfully, he said that discussions had taken place. When pursued more details, Isaac said there was nothing to spill just yet. The showrunners don't yet know if there will be a second season. season, but that hasn't stopped them from talking about the possibility. But that's not all. Isaac stated that fans have yet to see just how powerful Moon Knight really is. His words finally put our worried hearts to rest. All I can say is that it's not the last we've heard of the system that is Moon Knight. Following up, what are Diop's plans? Oscar may not have wanted to offer up any details, but Mohamed Diop did, and it seems that he has given the second season quite some thought. Comic book readers knew that Moon Knight had a third alter ego, Jake Lockley, who finally made his appearance in the season finale. So we never really got to learn a lot about him, and Diop knows that. He had a lot of fun seeing fans wait for Lockley to be introduced every single week. According to Diop, Jake was introduced perfectly, and he was glad that the character was interesting enough to keep fans hooked until the final episode. When asked about the second season, Diop explained that he wanted to begin it with a focus on Jake Lockley. And while we all want to see Steve Grant again, we're also really curious about who Jake is and what events caused the third alter ego to appear. Thankfully, Diop's as interested as us. Not only does he want to learn more about him, but also really gets to know the guy. He wants to know what he likes, who he loves, and what he does in those blinks. And his excitement has only resulted in piquing our own. Coming up, what route would they choose? Oscar Isaac is ready to return to Moon Knight, no matter where he next shows up. So there's a chance that the actor could show up in a movie, a second season, or a special as well. We could see his teaming up with a larger team as well if Midnight Suns are brought to the screens. No matter what, Oscar's more focused on the story being told, and if there's one worth telling at all. If it's interesting and Isaac isn't embarrassed about working on the project, he'd be completely on board. With a debut season, Isaac poured everything he had into his work, and he did so because he was just that excited about the story they were telling. So every day when his alarm went off, he would wake up excited to get to work and be able to do something new and different. So once a great idea comes about for the series or even a standalone movie, we'll find him on set. That's a wrap for this video. Would you like to see Moon Knight appear with Werewolf by Night on a crossover? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.